Welcome back to Stoic Relationship Hub. Have you ever noticed how people tend to resurface in your life right after you finally let them go? It's not destiny, it's not manipulation, it's mindset. Think about it. There was a time when you were the one reaching out, trying to hold on, seeking connection. Then, the moment you stopped chasing, something unexpected happened. They returned, as if pulled back by an unseen force. But let's be clear. That force isn't magic. It's the undeniable power of your personal growth, your self-respect, and your emotional mastery. When you stop pouring your energy into people who take you for granted and instead redirect it into yourself, something profound shifts. You step into your power. You evolve. And that change? It doesn't go unnoticed. Today, we're diving deep into 7 powerful Stoic principles that explain why people come back, but more importantly, why you won't need them to. Because the real goal isn't to win someone else's approval or affection. The real goal is to reclaim yourself. If you're tired of feeling like you have to prove your worth to those who don't see it, this video is for you. By the end, you'll realize that the true victory isn't in their return. It's in your transformation. Make sure to watch until the very end, because the final principle will completely shift the way you view relationships forever. And if this message resonates with you, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Stoic Relationship Hub, and join our growing community. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your reflections. The power of your absence. In a world that glorifies constant connection, stepping away feels unnatural. But that's precisely why it's so powerful. Your absence speaks louder than your presence. When you pull back, you create a void. And human nature hates a void. People are forced to confront the space you once occupied, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. Think about it. When you're always available, your presence becomes background noise. Appreciated but unnoticed. But the moment you're gone, the contrast is undeniable. Suddenly, they don't just miss you, they realize how much they took you for granted. Why it works. Imagine you're always the first to text, the first to check in, the one holding everything together. Then, one day, you stop. Silence. And that silence, it echoes louder than words. It forces reflection. They start replaying memories, questioning, why haven't I heard from them? That curiosity grows, and often, curiosity turns into regret. Stoic insight. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When you step away, you become a thought they can't ignore. Your absence isn't just an empty space, it becomes a presence in itself. This isn't about playing games, it's about reclaiming your energy. When you withdraw your attention, you send a powerful message. My worth isn't dependent on your recognition. That kind of silent confidence? Magnetic. Real-life reflection. Think about a time when someone stopped reaching out to you. At first, maybe you didn't notice, but as days turned into weeks, they started crossing your mind more often than when they were actually around. That's the power of absence. Key takeaway. Sometimes the loudest message is sent in silence. Your absence is not a weakness, it's a declaration. It says, I am whole with or without you. And that is the kind of energy people can't help but be drawn back to. 2. Detachment creates attraction. Detachment isn't indifference, it's freedom. It's not about pretending you don't care, it's about genuinely not being controlled by the outcome. When you release the need for external validation, you cultivate emotional self-sufficiency. And that self-sufficiency? It's magnetic. Why it works. Have you ever met someone who radiated effortless confidence? They weren't desperate for attention. They weren't trying too hard to impress. They were simply grounded in who they are. That kind of quiet, unshakable confidence is rare, and that's why it draws people in. Stoic insight Epictetus once said, Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. When you stop craving approval, you gain the ultimate form of freedom. Real-life example. Imagine two people at a party. One is desperate to be liked, constantly trying to be the center of attention. The other is relaxed, fully present, engaged in genuine conversations, not concerned with impressing anyone. Who do people naturally gravitate toward? Almost always, it's the one who isn't chasing validation. How to practice detachment. Next time you feel the urge to seek validation, whether it's checking if someone texted back or overanalyzing someone's opinion, pause. Instead of feeding that insecurity, shift your focus inward. Redirect that energy towards something that fuels your growth. Set a micro goal. Learn a new skill. Improve your fitness. Dive into a passion project. Mindset shift. Instead of asking, "Do they like me?" ask, "Do I respect the person I'm becoming?" When you become so busy growing, you don't have time to chase. And ironically, that's when people start chasing you. Bonus reflection. When you detach from needing someone's attention, you create space for them to choose you freely. And that choice, when it comes, is far more authentic and meaningful. Key takeaway. Detachment isn't giving up, it's leveling up. When you stop needing validation, you become the person everyone wants to validate. But what happens when rejection still stings? That's where redirection comes in. 3. Turning rejection into redirection, a path to growth and resilience. Rejection is not the end, it's a new beginning. Rejection can feel like a crushing blow, a door slammed shut in the face of your dreams. But what if it's not a dead end, but a detour? What if it's life's way of steering you towards something far greater than what you originally envisioned? While rejection stings in the moment, it often serves as a powerful force of redirection, guiding you to opportunities that foster deeper growth, resilience, and self-discovery. Stoic wisdom. Obstacles are opportunities in disguise. The Stoics viewed challenges not as barriers but as stepping stones. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, rejection isn't a wall blocking your path. It is the very road leading you to where you're meant to be. A powerful story of redirection, Seneca's exile. Consider the story of Seneca, one of history's greatest Stoic philosophers. Banished from Rome, he faced what seemed like an insurmountable rejection, one that could have destroyed his career and spirit. But instead of surrendering to despair, he used his exile as an opportunity for reflection and writing. That period of isolation led to the creation of some of the most profound Stoic teachings, writings that continue to inspire millions today. Had he not faced that rejection, his impact on the world would have been far smaller. A shift in mindset, from why me to what's next. When faced with rejection, our instinct is to ask, why is this happening to me? But a more empowering question is, how is this redirecting me towards something better? Rejection forces us to pause, reassess, and often pivot toward paths that align more deeply with our purpose. Think about a time when you were denied an opportunity, whether in your career, relationships, or personal goals. At the time, it felt painful, but looking back, can you see how it led you to something even better? Perhaps a stronger relationship, a more fulfilling career, or a more authentic version of yourself. Practical steps to reframe rejection. Reframe the narrative. Instead of seeing rejection as a failure, view it as a lesson. Each time you face rejection, write down 3 things you learned from the experience. Growth should be the focus, not loss. Visualize the redirection. Rather than dwelling on what was lost, picture the new possibilities ahead. What opportunities might this rejection be creating for you? Shift from victim to victor. Replace, "Why did this happen to me?" with "What's next?" This mindset shift keeps you moving forward rather than stuck in self-pity. Recognize that rejection builds resilience. The more you embrace rejection as a natural part of life, the less control it has over you. Every rejection is proof that you had the courage to take a chance, to put yourself out there, and to care. The key takeaway: rejection is redirection. Don't fixate on the closed door. Turn around and see the new doors opening before you. Sometimes what feels like an ending is actually the start of something extraordinary. Instead of resisting rejection, embrace it as the universe nudging you toward your highest potential. 4. The silent response: mastering the power of silence. Silence is not emptiness, it's presence. In a world consumed by endless chatter, immediate reactions, and constant noise, silence is an act of power. It is not passive, it is intentional. Choosing silence in moments of conflict, negotiation, or deep thought forces others to sit with their own discomfort, reflect on their own words, and feel the undeniable weight of your absence. Silence often communicates more than words ever could. Stoic wisdom: the art of restraint. The Stoics mastered self-control, understanding that true strength lies not in speaking more, but in speaking wisely. Epictetus famously said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Silence is not weakness, it is deliberate presence. It allows you to observe, assess, and influence without ever raising your voice. Silence as a tool of influence. Lessons from great leaders. Think of history's most powerful figures: Nelson Mandela, Marcus Aurelius, and other great leaders. They did not argue or demand attention with words alone. Instead, their calm, measured silence commanded respect. Their restraint was their strength, forcing others to listen and reflect. True leaders understand that sometimes the loudest message is delivered in silence. The power dynamic of silence. Silence shifts control. When you respond with silence, you create a psychological space that forces the other person to fill the void, to think, to question, to reflect. Instead of reacting impulsively, silence makes people confront their own behavior without the distraction of your words. It is a strategy that turns discomfort into understanding and reaction into revelation. Real-life reflection. Have you ever been in an argument where, instead of retaliating, you simply walked away? Hours later, the weight of that silence lingered far longer than any harsh words could have. That is the power of strategic silence. It creates a lasting impact, one that words often fail to achieve. Practical steps to master silence. Pause before reacting. The next time you feel the urge to respond emotionally, count to 5, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, is this response necessary? Master the strategic pause. In conversations, pause before replying. This shows that you are deeply considering the words spoken, making others listen more attentively to your response. Use silence as reflection. Instead of immediately reacting to criticism or conflict, take time to reflect. Your silence is not avoidance, it is mastery over your emotions. Build mystery and strength. When you resist the urge to explain, defend, or over-explain yourself, people become curious. In that curiosity, you hold power. Key takeaway: silence is not a void, it is a voice. It is a declaration of strength, confidence, and self-control. In a world that expects instant reactions, mastering silence sets you apart. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. 5. The power of self-improvement. Nothing is more attractive than personal evolution. When you grow, people notice. They remember who you were, but they become captivated by who you've become. Growth is not just personal, it radiates. It silently announces to the world that you are leveling up, and that energy is magnetic. Stoic insight: growth over validation. Marcus Aurelius once said, Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. True self-improvement is not about convincing others of your worth, it's about becoming someone who no longer needs external validation. Your transformation speaks louder than any explanation ever could. The undeniable power of evolution. Think of someone from your past who has transformed beyond recognition. Perhaps they were once struggling, unnoticed, or underestimated, but years later, you see them thriving, confident, successful, and entirely evolved. That kind of shift demands attention because true growth cannot be ignored. The quiet strength of self-improvement. Growth does not beg for applause, yet it commands respect. When you focus on self-betterment, people who once overlooked you start to notice, not because you ask for their attention, but because your progress forces them to reevaluate their perception of you. Evolution is not loud, but it is undeniable. Real-life reflection. Have you ever met someone after years and been shocked by how much they've changed? Not just in appearance or career success, but in their confidence, the way they speak, or the calmness in their demeanor? That is the silent power of self-improvement. It does not seek validation, but it earns admiration. The challenge. Commit to your own evolution. Set a goal. Choose something just for you. Whether it's learning a skill, improving your health, or mastering a craft, make it about your growth, not anyone else's opinion. Track your progress. Don't measure yourself by external approval. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Celebrate silent wins. You don't have to announce every victory. Sometimes the most powerful wins are those you achieve quietly, for yourself. Bonus insight. When people underestimate you, let your evolution be your answer. You don't need to prove them wrong, just prove yourself right. Key takeaway. Growth is the loudest statement you can make. Invest in becoming the person you admire, because nothing attracts, inspires, or empowers more than someone who is unapologetically committed to their own evolution. 6. Letting go as an act of strength. Holding on is easy, letting go requires strength. We often believe that clinging to people, situations, or expectations is a sign of commitment. But the truth is, real strength lies in releasing what no longer serves us. Letting go isn't about giving up, it's about choosing peace over attachment. Stoic insight. The Stoics taught that attachment to outcomes leads to suffering. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by discarding things that lie beyond our control." When you cling to something outside your control, whether it's a relationship, someone's opinion, or a specific outcome, you surrender your power. Example. Imagine gripping a rope tightly while someone pulls on the other end. The harder you hold on, the more it burns your hands. But the pain doesn't come from the rope itself, it comes from refusing to let go. The moment you release, the pain disappears. Letting go isn't losing, it's setting yourself free. The paradox of letting go. We fear that letting go means losing, but in reality, it's how we win. You regain energy, clarity, and emotional freedom. The space you create by letting go is where new growth begins. Real-life reflection. What are you holding on to? Ask yourself, what am I holding on to that no longer serves me? Is it a past relationship, a grudge, an expectation of how things should be? Now ask, what would happen if I released it? The answer is often peace, not loss. Practice. The art of letting go. Identify emotional clutter. Write down what's weighing on your mind, relationships, regrets, expectations. Acknowledge them without judgment. Release ritual. Choose one thing to let go of. Symbolize it by writing it on paper and physically discarding it. Shift your focus. Redirect your attention to what you can control, your growth, mindset, and actions. Bonus insight. Letting go isn't giving up. It's a declaration of power. It's saying, I choose myself. I choose peace. When you stop tying your worth to what you can't control, you become unshakable. Key takeaway: letting go equals true freedom. Freedom comes when you release what no longer serves you. Letting go isn't about them, it's about you. It's the most powerful gift you can give yourself, the freedom to move forward, unburdened and unstoppable. 7. You are the prize. You are not defined by who stays or who leaves. Your worth isn't determined by someone's attention, validation, or approval. Your value is intrinsic. It was there before they met you, and it will remain long after they're gone. When you truly embrace this, you shift from seeking to attracting. Stoic wisdom: master yourself, not others. He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior. Stoic proverb. True power doesn't come from controlling others, but from mastering yourself. Confidence isn't about being loud, it's about being unshaken, calm, and certain in who you are, not in who acknowledges you. Example: imagine a rare diamond in a display. The diamond doesn't beg to be admired, it doesn't shout, "Look at me." Its value speaks for itself. People are drawn to it because of its inherent worth, not because it demands attention. You are that diamond. Your job isn't to convince anyone of your value. Your job is to know it. The shift from seeking to attracting. When you stop chasing, you start radiating. People are naturally drawn to those who don't seek validation because it signals strength. You're not trying to be chosen. You're choosing yourself. And ironically, that's when others begin to notice you more, because you're not trying to be noticed. Real-life reflection. Think of someone you admire, someone who exudes quiet confidence. They don't need to prove anything. They don't need to be the loudest in the room. Their energy speaks for them. Be that person for yourself. Imagine walking into a room full of people who once doubted you. You don't need to say a word. Your growth speaks louder than their judgments ever could. That's the power of becoming the prize, not because they finally see it, but because you always knew it. Daily practice: affirm your worth. Start your day with this reminder: I am the prize, not because of what I do, but because of who I am. Invest in yourself. Focus on personal growth, not to impress others, but to fulfill your own potential. Stop explaining. You don't need to justify your decisions or prove your value. Let your actions and presence speak for themselves. Bonus insight: you win the moment you realize you never needed external validation to begin with. The real victory isn't when they come back, it's when you no longer care if they do. Key takeaway: you've already won. They may return, but you've already won, because you found yourself. You are the prize. Always have been. Always will be. Why do they return? It's not magic, manipulation, or chance. They return because your absence, growth, and detachment reveal your true value. When you stop chasing, you create space, and in that space, they realize what they lost. But here's the real question: it's not about why they come back, it's about whether you still want them to. Because by the time they realize your worth, you've already outgrown the version of yourself that needed them. It's about reclaiming your power, peace, and purpose. Every time you chose to walk away, every moment you invested in your growth, you weren't losing, you were winning. And that victory? It's priceless. If you found value in this, hit the like button, subscribe to Stoic Relationship Hub, and share your thoughts in the comments. Which principle resonated with you the most? Stay stoic, stay strong, and remember, you are the prize. Always have been, always will be. The next time someone comes back, ask yourself, do they deserve to return to the person I've become?